I did not want to write this song. It was so much to carry, and for me, it was such a big thing to say, this is who I am, that I'm like, shouldn't someone more holy, like, where's Chris Tomlin? Chris Tomlin needs to sing this song. You know what I mean? Where's Billy Graham? Like, someone who really follows the Jesus way. But that's when you always have to throw in there, it's like, but my grace is sufficient.
We're here with Phil Wickham. Thank you so much for coming and taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you so much for letting me be on. This is amazing.
It's always so much fun. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the Jesus way. Honestly, the first verse stopped me. It's like pretty straightforward biblical concepts, but it's also the most radical biblical concepts of, if you curse me, then I bless you. If you hurt me, I will forgive. And if you hate me, I will love you. I choose the Jesus way.
Oh.
So, right?
It's a gut punch a little bit.
And it's the opposite of what our world does.
It's the opposite of even just what our heart wants to do.
Yeah.
And I remember it was actually in the middle of 2020 when this song came to life, but at the time I didn't even know it was a song. And actually I had nothing to, well, maybe that was a part of it, the foundation of the whole 2020 experience, but it was really just a relational thing. Where do I fit in? How do I respond to this situation? I went out to my backyard, sat on this little bench we have, and just said, Jesus, what does it mean to follow you in this? And there's a few times in my life where it just feels like this, I mean, I don't know, the presence of God, but like a real tangible, like I've just felt like I was in a holy moment, and I opened my journal and I started writing, and all the verses of that song came out. Like I wasn't thinking about it. I just started writing, so much so that I had to kind of go back and like, what I feel like just spilled out. What did I just write? And I read through it, like what you just read in the next verse. Well, the third verse hit me a lot. It said, if you strike me, I'll embrace you. If you chain me, I'll sing his praise. And if you kill me, my home is heaven. So I choose the Jesus way. And I just remember I got so emotional, kind of misty-eyed in a two-way moment, because on one side I saw the heart of Jesus, and like, wow, God could choose to be anybody he is. He wants to be. He's God. And like, he revealed himself as this in the person of Jesus, as someone slow to anger and quick to forgive, and sitting with the sinner, and so gracious, and saying, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, on the cross, and looking to the thief on the cross beside him who deserved it. According to his own story, his own testimony, he says, today you'll be with me in paradise, and opens his eyes. His heart is so beautiful, and I was just so amazed and blown away, but at the same time equally overwhelmed with, though I have been following Jesus kind of my whole adult life and beyond, overwhelmed with how much I don't choose this way, if I'm being honest, and in some big ways, but also in many little ways throughout the day. Of like, I choose the Phil way. I choose to hold bitterness, or I choose to be selfish, or I choose to not forgive completely. And I know that about myself, and I just sat in it like, oh no. And what's so beautiful, like literally in the seconds that followed, so sitting there is like this image of the cross and the empty grave filled my heart and my mind of like, of that's what the cross is for. It's like the Jesus way is our roadmap to get back to heaven, to get back into the presence of God, to be back fully human, like we're always created to be, walking side by side with our Father, like it was meant to be in the Garden of Eden. The Jesus way is the roadmap to start living that abundant life again. But also this amazing, sympathizing high priest named Jesus came, and he walked in our shoes, and he showed us the Jesus way, but he also went to the cross because he understood that we would never be able to follow the Jesus way on our own. For years and years and years, the people of Israel tried through Moses. We thought maybe we're finding the roadmap back through Moses, maybe through Joseph, maybe through Abraham, maybe through David, but all of them ended up not being that fulfillment until Jesus came and says, I will be the one that no one else can be, so that you don't have to ever be. You don't have to check the boxes I'm going to check for you. And he checked them for us. And so it's this amazing thing is that Jesus says, follow me. I am the true vine, and you are the branches. He who abides in me will bear much fruit. Like, if we follow him and align ourselves with him, we will experience this amazing thing that I can testify of, called abundant life, where peace follows and joy follows, even in the midst of sadness and even in the midst of storm, because it's this promise of what it means to follow the Jesus way. And even though it's hard, it's so beautiful and so worthwhile, but also we will fail, and God knew that. That's what the cross is for. And so I'm talking a lot because it's something God has been churning in my heart for so long, because I did not want to write this song. It was so much to carry, and for me, it was such a big thing to say, this is who I am, that I'm like, shouldn't someone more holy, like, where's Chris Tomlin? Chris Tomlin needs to sing this song. You know what I mean? Where's Billy Graham? Like, someone who really follows the Jesus way. But that's when you always have to throw in there, it's like, but my grace is sufficient, and so the Jesus way is who I am sometimes. It's who I really, really want to be. And when I sing it, it recalibrates my heart every time. I haven't been changed by a song in the last 25 years of writing songs personally more than this song, because it's made me look at myself every time I sing it and think, I need to call that guy and say sorry, or okay, I need to commit to this situation, or all that stuff. Like, where am I not aligning with you, Jesus? And sometimes those steps are difficult. They take courage, they take humility. All of them end up bringing about such blessing and such life, and that's the promise of the Jesus way.
Absolutely. You see it immediately.
Immediately.
And God puts it on your heart, and that's helpful as well. But yeah, I felt the exact same way. I mean, it was like goosebumps, like immediate self-evaluation of the Jesus way.
We were wondering about, okay, what song should go, we're going to send our friends at radio, and the Jesus way, I was like, man, it's kind of weighty, and it's not just a song about joy or life, which I love those. There's joy in the house of the Lord. I love singing that. This is a song that if you listen, you got to take stock. And so we kind of thought about, is this the right one? But I just imagined, man, if there's a person out there that this causes them to turn from depression to life, from darkness to light, turns their hearts to Jesus, if it causes a family to reconcile, or someone in their heart to drop some bondage of bitterness and say, I forgive, if it does those things, when I think of the potential of that in a moment, and when they're listening to it on the radio, it blessed me so much, and it filled me with so much just excitement and encouragement that I was like, well, maybe this is the right one. So it's been already so amazing to get the feedback of this song.
You have kids.
I do.
There's like a whole cluster of them.
I have 4 of them, yes.
And so I'm curious, what is some fatherly advice that you've been given, whether it was your dad, a father figure in your life, that you now get to live out with your own kids?
One thing that I have found about myself is that I can get impatient. And that's the biggest thing when I'm late. Maybe some parents out there can relate. I would imagine all of them probably can. When you're laying in bed at night and you knew just like, wow, I wish I didn't do that with my kids. I should have handled that differently. I hate that feeling. And for me, a lot of times it's just like, I'm busy. I've got this to do, that to do. And my kid wants my attention. I'm just like, and you get like frazzled and impatient. So I've been working on that. Like, Lord, give me more patience. Just want to live in that unhurried state with my kids. And I was told, like, hey, remember that I know, Phil, you play in these arenas and you got things that obviously seem more bigger and important, but like right now, like that yogurt pack, that ice cream cone, that fell on the ground, that's like that kid's whole world. To like your mic not working in front of 10,000 people, it's like that's your world, that's big. But their ice cream falling off their cone, like that's big for them. Like they were excited. This was what they read the 5 pages in the book for. You know what I mean? They got the ice cream and it fell on the ground. And for them to freak out, like remember, that's their world. And they get in their world with them. And that's really helped me of like, instead of like expecting them to see things the way I see it, but try to get down on their level and get in their world. It's like, oh yeah, like I shouldn't be impatient so much so with like maybe an extra cry or an extra whine or fighting over this that I feel is so insignificant, because it's not insignificant to their little hearts. And so that's been something that's really helpful for me. It's like, oh yeah, of course that's true. They're in their context, this is everything. And so I want to get down to their level, just like, would take it the next level to like God and us. Do you know what I mean? Like the one who can form stars and hold the whole universe. Like no one knows what getting down to someone else's lower level more than God, coming in the form of Jesus, meeting us in the mess, literally, of the stable, the dirt and the manure of the stable, and meeting us right where we're at. And if he can do that, then the least I can do is get on my knee and say, that's a bummer. Like, let's get a new one, instead of like trying to do my thing at the time. So just more patience, getting in their world.
Oh, that's so huge. I have a 1.5-year-old. And so we're kind of getting out of the baby stage and into the like toddler in everything stage. And I find myself so locked up in the do, that I'm like, well, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to wipe her face. I got to do this. And she's just, stop, get your hands off me. And I've completely feel that. Like, yeah, it would also drive me crazy if somebody was all up in my face all the time.
Yep.
But like, yeah, trying to see things
just
from
like
their perspective.
Yeah, get on their level. It helps. And then you just
so huge.
It's just how you end up enjoying the day more, you end up being more present. everything, you just see it in just a different way. So
That's awesome. Okay, so in the kid world,
yeah.
we know that kids are accident prone, maybe messy. Have you had a situation in your family where you say, this is why we can't have nice things?
Yes.
What was it? Or the biggest, or whatever comes to
Well, like
mind.
every day, in a way, it's like, oh my, you guys, like the walls are not a coloring book, or like, y'all, like, why are you just, I mean, every day it's like this, there's like, I'm just probably before I left, it's like they had like these slime. It's like, you guys, like, like the slime leaves marks on the ceiling. If you're going to throw it on the ceiling, like I have to clean it. Like, y'all, I mean, I guess it's not a big deal, but it feels like every day there's something. It's like, y'all, like, I like to eat on the table, and like, and you're like smearing the grossest thing on it right now. Like, can we do this outside, But that's, and a part of it, again, if you have the right perspective, it becomes kind of joyful and comedic. But if you have the wrong perspective, then you get like kind of annoyed and impatient. It's just like, you're going to walk in seeing things where they're at and their world and they're exploring, or you're going to walk in being like, this is my world and you're just guessing it. Like, you need to do it my way. So it changes it. Not just makes me like a more patient person, but makes me just see it from their place and enjoy it so much more,
Oh my word. And I bet as a songwriter, it is a little bit easier, or maybe more of a practice for you, because you might try to be seeing things from different people's worldview while you're writing songs. And so it's kind of the give and take.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like, you just got to know. I mean, so my kids I've got 3 girls and a boy, and in a few months from right now, they'll be 7, 9, 11, 13. So we're right in kind of a sweet spot where we're like we just went to Disney in Anaheim the other week, and I had this moment because we didn't have a stroller, we didn't have to bring any snacks into the park, and no one really whined. Everybody kind of walked and had a great time. We were laughing, and we had 2 full days, and I was just like, wow, this is maybe the first family trip I felt like, kind of always think, oh, it's going to be nice when we don't have to have a stroller. It's going to be nice when we don't have to change a diaper. It's going to be nice. But this is great. I love it.
Literally next level.
And now we're like at places like, wow, don't get older, guys. This is beautiful right now. And I realize my 12 going on 13-year-old girls, I mean, in a couple of years, she's going to be driving. And so we have this little moment. It's like, I remember my parents always saying, like, don't get any older. I'm like, oh my goodness, like, stop. And now I feel that, so I don't remember your original question,
no,
but
that's great. It's beautiful.
Okay.
And I can't wait to get to that stage. Like, that's golden years for sure.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
So in talking about the busyness of your life, because it seems like, especially writing, you need to give yourself space, right? You need to give yourself those quiet moments, but then you also have 4 kids, and you're also touring, and you live on the other side of the country where probably you do a lot of work, going from California to Nashville. How do you prioritize those things that are most important in your life? I mean, how do you decide what gets the yes and what gets the no?
Well, I think in some ways it's really, if I think about it and I was to tell you like the right answer, what I think is the right answer, it's kind of easy. It's like, I should be, right now, I've been gone. And so tomorrow I'm going to put down my phone, and I'm not going to get back to the emails. I'm not going to be humming a song under my breath when I'm at the park with my kids. I'm just going to be there. Like, that's how you do it. And so I guess, but if I'm being honest, like the question is, do I do that? And because I love my kids. I love my wife. She's my best friend. I love my family. But I also love what I do. And I'm so one-track minded. And I found this about myself over the years, is that it's challenging for me to stop, like to be unhurried. And that's another way that sometimes I don't follow the Jesus way, because I think the Jesus way is unhurried. I think the Jesus way is who's in front of me, and I'm going to give them my full attention. It's who touched me in the crowd, with like the women on the. I'm going to go away to a secret place and pray to the Father all night on the top of the hill. It's when Peter says, "But all these people are waiting for us," and Jesus says, "No, we're gonna go into this other quieter town." He gives us all these like unhurried, be still and know I'm God kind of moments. And that's currently, literally in my life, the thing I have recognized I need to grow into over this last year, and the thing I'm praying into my life and trying to create new habits of what is the practice of Sabbath, which doesn't look, what does that look like in modern day? I guess it could look like you just take a day off, but I don't know if I can do that with my schedule. So what does that mean if I apply it today? All those kind of questions, because I realize like I need to get better sometimes at getting my mind off the next song because I love it so much, or being able to put my phone down. And I'm just being honest, and maybe some people out there can relate, and join me in the prayer of like, Lord, like what's the people in front of me right now, and may my priorities align with the priorities of the kingdom of heaven every day, not just as I'm talking on a radio station and I know I'm being filmed, but like when I'm at home and I know there's a great idea and I know someone's waiting for me to send a new verse, and Brandon Lake is like, hey, you got the new chorus yet? And I'm just like, hey, I need to know it's not the day, And so in a way it's like, it's how do I balance it? But it's kind of easy to know. It's like Jesus, wife, kids, calling, all that stuff, and there's time for it all. Truly, even the business of it. But it's also being able to like, okay, I'm here now, and this is my ministry now, and I spent 4 days on the road, and now, this is a Saturday. I'm at home Saturday, Sunday, and I'm just going to be with my family, and know that this is still going to be okay, and so I'm in the process of trying to get better at that.
Oh, it's so huge. And I think I totally resonate with like just choose the right thing, because deep down we do all know.
I think you do.
There's a lot of good things, but what's the right thing for this moment? And like, yeah, just living that out is super important.
Yep.
All right, it is officially time for the disco ball of fun.
Disco ball of fun.
I've been looking at this our whole interview.
It's cute, right?
And I don't know what it is.
Okay, so it's a disco
but
ball.
I found out it is the disco ball of fun.
Full of questions.
Okay.
That I came up, a number of us came up with. Some
There's
are
a lot
serious.
of questions. Good
some
job.
are fun. It truly is a lot. If there's a question that you're like, what is this even? Throw it back, grab a new one. Totally fine.
I'm going to try to answer whatever I get. That's my challenge to myself.
Love it. And you do have this special little card over here that you can use if you want.
Oh, is that reverse?
It is.
Yeah.
It means I'm not going to answer this, but Candace, you are. So
Okay.
if you feel like using it, go for it.
Okay. Oh, let me dig deep here. Lord, lead me in your will, Lord. Here we go. What is a bit your family has?
Okay.
What do we do as a family? Like, what's a thing that no one else wouldn't?
Yeah, exactly. More like the funny things,
y'all.
those things.
I just got to do the first thing that came to mind. This is going to make me look like a dork. But, okay, so we give our dogs have voices. And they've always had these voices, and we don't know where they come from. But, like, they so much so, at first it was funny, and now someone just talks in the voice, and no one laughs. We just all look at the dog as if the dog is saying it.
Obviously.
I kind of came from my wife has given these dogs personalities, but we know their personalities through my wife, and now we are their personality too. But it's kind of like, honey, come here. Come here, honey. Let me give you a kiss, honey. And that's what our dogs do. And when we walk in, it's like, and so, but what's funny, like literally someone will be saying that while the dog is kissing me. One of my girls will be like, honey, come here, to me. But it's my daughter talking as my dog, as if my dog is my mom. Giving me a kiss coming home from school. It's so weird, you guys.
That's amazing, and I love it. Okay, so are you saying that the different dogs have different voices?
Yeah, the other one, that one's the bigger one. The other one just sounds a little bit more like a baby.
What kind of baby? What does it sound like, Phil?
I gotta get my wife on the phone for that one. I actually don't do that voice good. But I've gone over the edge.
For sure.
Welcome to the Wickham family, you guys.
Oh,
it's a party
word.
every day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Okay,
right.
Disco.
I'm actually going to pick this one for you now. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
This is the reverse.
Here we go.
Yeah. I'd like to present this to you.
Reverse.
What's it like being a professional Christian? Oh, I'm so glad you got that one and not me.
That's so rude. Because I mean, truly, we deal with that all the time. So I want to know. Okay, all right. Okay, so by professional Christian, we do mean like somebody who, I mean, your faith is on display.
Yeah. We wouldn't
100%
have
of the
these
time,
jobs
right.
unless we were saying we were Christians.
Social media, the way
Yeah.
you are at home, similar to how pastors have to, you know, I mean, people say, oh, well, they're a pastor. And like it means that they're not human.
And it's a little different even for them because like they can kind of say like they're in capital in ministry.
Right.
Like because they're getting paid through people's offerings to the church.
Exactly.
We are just being professional Christian. Like we have ministries.
Mm-hmm.
Our lives are ministries, and it spills into what we do. But
Okay, so being a professional Christian for me has honestly been, I think that it is a good thing, and I think most people should live their life as if an audience is watching, because an audience is watching.
Yes.
Right? I mean, when I am out in public, people might recognize me, but if you are at school and people know you're a Christian, they're also watching. And so there's a different level of accountability that comes with being a professional Christian. And sometimes it means that people expect you to have all the answers or expect you to act a certain way. Or, I mean, there's truly been things that I'm not invited to because people are afraid of judgment.
Yeah.
You know?
That
And
makes
so
sense.
so encompassing Christ's mission hits closer to home in a more public way
Yep.
because you're going, okay, how would Jesus respond in this? You know, how can I love this person even when I don't agree with them? Whoo, it helps you bite your tongue.
Yeah.
I will
yeah,
tell you that much.
Also, we get the close-up view of all the confused saints out there.
Okay,
We get
so
the confused saints
that's
coming out
actually
of the
another
woodwork.
question in here. I'm gonna find it. Okay.
Right?
Now that I've answered that one, I
Yes.
have found this other question for you.
Okay. If you looked for it.
Yeah, well, I actually just
allowed.
it's important.
Okay.
What do you do when Christians are mean?
To me or in general?
Both.
Like you have to give me a context.
So, for instance, like if you do or say something that somebody doesn't agree with, right? We're talking comment section stuff. We're talking like, oh, well, that's not.
Well, on comment section, that's easy. I just ignore it. Or this is one thing. If it bites a little bit, then I kind of take that as like, did I do something am I kind of agreeing with them? Like, is there some truth I feel is in their statement? Like, do I kind of get why they're mad at this or why they're annoyed at this? And if that's happened, then I try to have the humility to kind of retake stock. If I feel that, which I'm pretty careful with what kind of things I say and the things I post. And I stand behind all of it. But if I stand behind what I did or what I said or what I posted, if I got dressed up because my neighborhood, my cul-de-sac this is something recent. This is something that happened. My cul-de-sac gets a taco truck and gets a kid's magician, like this old guy. He's really sweet. And there's all these kids in the cul-de-sac, and they're growing up now, but and they all sit out there, and then we just kind of give candy to each other, and that's our Halloween. We just have like one cul-de-sac, and one time I think we dressed up like circus people because Greatest Showman was out, and I posted a picture of it, and I got some heat because I dressed up, and in my mind, in the way I grew up, it wasn't even a second thought. Like it would have been if maybe I was like celebrating death or something. It's like I don't celebrate death,
Right,
but
if
my
you
kids
dress
are
up
like
a skeleton.
yeah.
Or
My
a
kids were
witch
dressed
or-
up like a trapeze performer, and like my son, who was a baby at the time, had like a muscle man suit on. It was like we're just being a part of the fun, and we're like one of the one Christian families in the area, and we're happy to be there, and they all know what I do, and it's cool. We could talk about Jesus, and but I got a lot. I mean, there's like 1,800 comments on that one, and I didn't realize until I opened up that night because I was just like, look how cute my family is. My kids are so cute, and there's some things I'm like, okay, I get it. Some international ones where they, like they have had weird, even like supernatural things. I'm like, okay, wow, that's not my context. Maybe I should have thought of that. And so my first thing was like, oh, you guys are all too legalistic, or oh, thanks for it was just like, oh, I got to learn from this. Like I see some people actually really have some past in this that like I would never have context for, but like, yeah, I do agree that darkness is real. Like maybe I should think about this in the future. And so when someone's mean, if it bites, I try to think a little bit of like, man, is there something I could have done differently? Are they mean to me because they feel like they're being unloved or unthought of, or that I didn't think is something I should be? And if that's the case, Lord, reveal it to my heart. And if they're just being mean because they're full of like a Pharisee attitude, or think I should, and I stand behind what I do, it's like,
It's easier to ignore those.
yeah,
ones
it's like
for sure.
that's your thing,
Yeah. Love it.
Is that a good? Is that a good?
We're all learning.
Yeah,
We're
we're all
all
learning.
growing with you, Phil.
Yeah.
We're gonna take stock next time someone's mean to us.
So I don't post Halloween pictures anymore.
Yeah, I get that.
I wore a
get
wig
that.
last year, just a wig. I had my normal clothes on, but I just had a wig on. So sorry if anybody has a problem with that. I apologize.
What color wig?
It was like a long 80s band wig.
Hair metal.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's actually my daughter's princess wig.
That's amazing.
But it looked like an 80s band. So my kids are like, you have to dress up something. I'm like, I'm kind of tired. Like, I don't want to, And they're like, wear this. I was like, okay.
Deal.
And it actually kind of turned out. Look kind of like
You're
Van
like,
Halen
oh my
or something.
gosh, should I grow my hair out?
Yeah,
Me and
I know.
Brandon
This is
Lake
beautiful.
are gonna match
Exactly.
on tour.
That's
Oh
what they were
my
they literally were
word.
calling me Little Brandon.
That's hilarious. Phil, thank you so much for participating in my disco ball of fun. It was a lot of fun
Yeah, thanks for having me.
and educational.
I hope so. I was educated.